Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am talking about black mold and how it affects our bodies. Unfortunately, black mold is everywhere. Even if you think your home doesn't have mold, it most likely does. And it really affects us because mold releases spores and we breathe it in. It can live in our body. So I'm gonna just kind of give you a little bit of background info on mold and then just share my favorite remedies, I guess, to help get rid of mold from your body, just so that you can improve your health overall. I'm not sure if this is even in focus. My camera is falling apart, guys, so if it's a little bit blurry, I do apologize. So I'm just gonna start with what is mold. So mold's actually a fungus. Pretty much it's everywhere, but it flourishes specifically in warm and, I hate this word, but moist environments. So basements, bathrooms where you're taking hot showers, there has been mold, or I should say mold has been found 15,000 feet in the sky or in the air, and I think something like 5 or 10,000 feet underground. So it honestly is everywhere, and there's a lot of things we can do to really limit the mold and reduce it. I don't think it's ever possible to completely get rid of it. So there's a lot of things we can do though to improve it, and that's what I'm going to share with you in this video. So first though, I do want to bring up some symptoms that you might experience if you do have mold toxicity in your body. So there's a couple things: headaches, fatigue, fever, eye irritation, rashes. If you have especially chronic fatigue, by the way, but if you have any autoimmune conditions, any type of chronic disease, if you have like a lot of mucous membrane irritation, so any like nose or anything like that, type of like congestion, coughing, these are all really big signs of mold toxicity in the body. Unfortunately, it's not like the only factor for these. So if you do have any of these symptoms, don't be like, oh, it's mold and if I get rid of that, I'm good, because there are definitely a lot of underlying issues. But it's one of the biggest factors. And even when you have candida overgrowth and parasitic overgrowth, there's usually mold with it, because mold creates that environment in your body for candida and parasites to thrive. So it's so important to really try to reduce the mold. And oftentimes for people, their chronic fatigue and stuff will lift once mold is cleared. Obviously there's liver toxicity and other issues that are, paired with mold that will cause things like autoimmune and stuff like that. But mold is a huge factor. And if you're doing everything or a lot of things and you just feel like you're not getting better, or it's taking too long, or you're not where you want to be, I highly recommend considering a mold cleanse. So there's a couple things you can do to help deal with it. I wrote my notes down just so I stay on track in this video. So that's what I'm looking down. But the very first thing is you want to start getting in antifungals in your body. So you can do this paired with a candida and parasite cleanse, because it's actually very similar supplements. So first you want lots of raw garlic, preferably like a couple cloves of raw garlic a day. But if you don't like raw garlic, or if it's too spicy, you can do garlic capsules, and you just need, I think, like 600 to 900 milligrams of raw garlic in a capsule daily to be effective. But garlic is a powerful antifungal. It's also antimicrobial and antibacterial, so it's amazing, but really good for getting rid of mold. So you want to kind of have this picture in your head. When we're trying to get mold out of our bodies, since mold thrives in a warm and moist environment, we want to dry up our body and prevent it from being that damp type of environment. And the same goes for candida and parasites. They also thrive in that environment. So when we kind of address mold or address candida and parasites, we're kind of addressing this whole situation. It's kind of all together, if that makes sense. So another thing you can consider adding in is going to be like grapefruit seed extract, another powerful antifungal. Even wormwood, clove, black walnut, these are so powerful to really get rid of that dampness in the body. So cinnamon, ginger, warming spices are going to be fantastic to add in here, especially clove and nutmeg, things like that. Activated charcoal's so important. So activated charcoal kind of acts like a sponge, so it's going to bind to the mold toxins and pull it out of the body, so that they just can't, keep regrowing and replenishing in our body and multiplying. Chlorophyll is also fantastic. It flushes everything out and it alkalizes, so it kind of ruins that environment that mold would need to thrive. So it really pulls things out and it really detoxes and flushes the body, which is what we need to get rid of mold and also candida and parasites. I'm just going through this quick because I want this video to be short, but there's a couple other things you have to do alongside some supplementation. The first thing would be fix, or first actually avoid sugar. That's probably the top. You want it. The heater just turned on, sorry, it's the background noise. You want to get rid of sugar from your diet, all refined sugars, even non-refined sugars. You don't want to overdo it, because not only does it feed, you know, candida and parasites, but it creates that damp and cooling and perfect environment for mold to thrive. So you've got to get that out of your diet. The next thing is to fix the source. What is causing your black mold, you know, toxicity in your body? What is causing that mold overall? And it's different for everyone. I'm on a rocking chair. It's different for everyone. Sometimes it could be wherever you work. If you work in a school or old building or factory, those are perfect breeding grounds for mold. Those are going to be super damp and just exactly what mold needs to thrive. It's very hard to try to eliminate mold from your workspace, so this is where really some major precautions come in. In your office, try to at least get, if it's, you know, it'll go through the vents and everything, so it is really hard to avoid in this scenario, but at least try to dehumidify your office. Get a dehumidifier, get the excess water in the air out. There's a couple, like, you can diffuse tea tree essential oil in your room to help. So that's a couple things. Honestly, the long term, you might want to consider, I know this is going to be crazy and I'm going to get so many people freaking out that I'm even bringing this up, but you're going to want to consider getting a new job if mold toxicity is causing issues. So if you have like chronic Lyme disease or any autoimmune diseases, things like that, that is a huge sign that you really need to get on top of this mold. And as much cleansing as you do, if you're always in the presence of mold, you're always going to have mold internally. So follow all these antifungal, you know, tips and things like that. Really create a perfect environment in your body so mold can't thrive. But also down the road, you would want to consider maybe trying to switch jobs or go somewhere else that doesn't have so much mold. So that's just a thought and just a tip. Sorry with the heater in the background, it's quite loud. So what else? Yeah, so not only would your workplace have mold, but most likely your bathroom. So you want to keep a vent running, especially if you take a hot, steamy shower. You're going to want to keep a dehumidifier in your basement running all the time. We always have one on in our basement. Even if it's like a finished basement, you've got to keep that dehumidifier running. So find the source, get rid of it. If it's like some moldy clothes or in the laundry or a moldy mop, anything, get rid of it. There's a couple things you also can do to help get rid of it. So I love tea tree essential oil or melaleuca. You can just put some drops in a spray bottle and spray it directly on the mold, spray it in the air. And this does help to directly fight and combat those the mold spores and just kill off mold in general. So if you have a spot in your home that you can actually see some black mold, that's perfect to spray that on. Don't use those like bleach and mildew sprays, because while yes, they do kill mold, they also are very toxic for us. So tea tree oil is great for that. If some people have black molds in their bathroom, so tea tree oil is great to just keep spraying on that. A baking soda spray, so you can do this as well. You can do some water and add some baking soda to it and spray that as well, because it's nice and alkaline. You can add the tea tree to that as well. So you could, there's a few things you can do, but definitely spray something natural on the mold. Hydrogen peroxide is great as well if you want to use that, and it's actually quite natural, so that's fine too. But overall, you want to create an environment not only in your home, but in your body, so that mold can't thrive. So if mold is present, it can't really live there. If you think about moving like a sunflower or a lily to a desert, it's probably not gonna thrive so well. It's probably gonna burn, it's gonna have a hard time, right? Because nothing really survives in the desert. That's kind of what we wanna do to our body. We wanna dry the heck out of our body. We don't want anything to be able to thrive except some good bacteria and things like that. So if you have the perfect terrain or the perfect environment in your body, mold won't be able to thrive. So yes, if you do come in contact with it, it'll go in our body. It might cause some, you know, fatigue, things like that, but then it'll die off. It won't be able to survive and it'll get eliminated. So that's our goal. Don't think you can ever get away from mold, because you can't, and it is everywhere. So don't stress about that. Just really try to detox your body, get rid of candida and parasites, which are usually all paired with the mold toxicity. Do the activated charcoal to pull everything out. Do a heavy heavy metal detox as well, because that's usually paired with mold. So there's so many different things you can do, but I would definitely start with getting rid of sugar, some antifungals, and really finding the major sources of black mold in your home or in your workspace and trying to address that. Those are kind of my tips for mold. There's so much more info than what I just shared in this video, but I don't want this video to be long, so I'm not going into all that detail. I do encourage you to go do your own research. Of course, talk to a doctor or practitioner before implementing any of these supplements or tips or anything like that. But definitely this is something that you should just research on your own, because like I said, there is so much info. There's a lot to learn and understand. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're not following me on Instagram, click the link in the description box below so you can see some recipes, daily lifestyle tips and tricks, especially for autoimmune conditions. But yeah, I love you all, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.